Welcome. There's some confusion in the industry over how to protect lift shafts from a detection point of view. Here is a general guide of some relevant parts from Australian Standard 1670 Part 1 and the National Construction Code from 2022. Let's try to clarify the various aspects of the problems. If you're designing the system to 1670 Part 1, Clause 3, 27 Part 12 tells you that lift shafts shall be protected with a smoke detector that can be tested or replaced without entering the shaft. First off, it's important to stress the fact that the standard requires a smoke sensor, not a heat detector, heat cable, or sprinklers. Furthermore, there's the issue of testing and replacing the device without entering the shaft. This leaves you two options. The first option is the use of a point detector, which has to be mounted on an access bracket which can be slid in and out of the shaft from the outside. This will require some engineering of the solution, but it has the potential to keep the cost low. Please remember that this solution cannot reduce the fire rating of the shaft. This means that the access panel will have to be fire rated to the same level as the shaft and cannot be left in the open position. Furthermore, this solution cannot constitute any work health and safety issue for the technician who needs to reach into it to extract the mounting pole and the detector. The second option is to use an aspirated smoke detector, such as Vesda or Wagner. Here is an example of what this solution would look like. 3 openings will need to be created in the masonry. The first one is for the aspirating pipe to enter the shaft. The second one, if for the same pipe to exit the shaft and provide a test port for maintenance. Finally, the third one is for a second pipe to exhaust the air back into the shaft. Please remember that these openings shall be correctly sealed for fire rating. 1670 adds a further limitation to these options. Section 5.1 limits the use of point detectors past 12 meters in height. This means that if you're designing as per 1670 and the shaft is more than 12 meters high, you cannot use the first option, and you can only use an aspirated smoke detector. Please note that if you're designing to National Construction Code from 2022 and your building is Class 2, 3 or 4, smoke detection is only required in sole occupancy units and public spaces. It can be argued that a lift shaft is not a public space, therefore voiding the need for smoke detection in this compartment. As previously said, this only applies to buildings of Class 2, 3 or 4, and if you're designing to the NCC, instead of 1670. In addition to this, under the NCC, buildings over 25 meters in height are generally covered by sprinklers, and detection is only limited to the detectors required for smoke control. This means that only Section 7 of 1670 applies in these buildings. This section requires detection in circulation spaces and doesn't require detection inside lift shaft, unless these are pressurized. This means that buildings over 25 meters in height might not require any smoke detection inside the lift shaft. Please remember to always cross-reference the fire engineering report, as additional requirements might be imposed on a building. For example, when the sprinkler protecting the top of the lift shaft is removed and replaced with a smoke detector. This is a general guide and doesn't constitute professional advice. The key stakeholders, such as the fire engineer, the designer, the installer, and the local fire authority, will have to be consulted to confirm what option is required for a particular building. If you have any query or would like to discuss how Fusion products can assist you with your design and installation, please reach out to your local representative at Fusion Fire.